So in the process of editing this video, I realised that Kieran is sat right behind the camera pretty much the whole way through the first half of this video. And Kieran has a cold, so I apologise in advance for all the sniffing. In today's episode of I Hate Cooking, we will be looking at 5 recipe books and deciding which is the best. Now, my mum is obsessed with cooking shows, so all of these cookery books have some link to some blog or cookery show, etc. And I think my mum has used each cookbook maybe once, twice, 3 times, maybe? I don't know.
It's bold of you to assume she's read them ever.
Yeah. I know that, like, no, she must have done for a couple of these, because there are some recipes in here that I recognise. Like, I know that she's cooked from them. Others, I think she bought them just because of the face on the front. I can't stand cooking, but there's only so many recipes that I know because I can't stand cooking. So I thought it would be a really fun video for you and a horrible video for me, which makes it more entertaining for you. If I were to take 5 of the cookbooks that my mum reads sometimes, pick 5 recipes, have them on 5 days. So what I'll do first is I will talk about the 5 cookbooks that I will be reviewing this week. Then I will tell you about what I'm going to actually be looking at when I review them. Then I'm going to cook the food, but I'm going to do that over the span of the week because we're in a pandemic and I'm not cooking all day. I hate cooking! No, I'm just not cooking all day. So I also have post-its so that I don't lose the recipe that I'm looking to do. But I am going to do the big shop today, so we're going to choose the recipes for the week, make a note, go do the shop, and I will also be tracking how expensive the food is. Okay, so things I'm going to be looking at to review are how expensive were the meals that I cooked, how easy were the instructions to follow, and was the food edible? I get a really bad anxiety when I cook for other people. I have never given anyone food poisoning, but I live with this constant fear that I will give you food poisoning with my cooking. It's completely irrational, but there we go. My hopes is that by trying different recipes, I will get over that anxiety, or it will just make it worse. But it's fine, because I'm in my own house, so I can only hurt myself and my brother, because no one else is here. I'm not feeding anyone else. He is going to be my guinea pig, and he's got a pretty strong stomach, so. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the cookbooks I'm going to be looking at. The first one is Jamie Oliver's 5 ingredients. Now, he did a 5 ingredients veg version, but we're not vegetarians. If I do happen to flip open to a vegetarian meal, that's what we'll be having. Now, I know my mum has used this one because it's sticky. That's something I just discovered when I held it here and was like, sticky. But anyway, this is a cookbook made up of recipes that only require 5 ingredients. They might include like herbs and things. There is a list at the front that kind of has like things you should have in your cabinets anyway, but each recipe only takes 5 ingredients. So this is the one that I think I'm going to rate the highest, just because if it's only 5 ingredients, shouldn't take that long to cook, is my thinking. That's the first one. The second one is Pinch of Nom, which my mum definitely bought because of the cover. I don't think she's ever read the blog. This is in every supermarket, everywhere. They did littler versions. This is the slimming home version as opposed to the standard, I think. They also do a vegetarian and a vegan version and all sorts, but that's another one. If anything, I think this is probably going to be the one where the meals are the most expensive, just because of the kinds of recipes that they are. Again, mum has done a couple of these before. The third one is Nadias Kitchen. Now, you might recognise Nadia. She was the winner of the Great British Bake Off. That was a spectacular year. There are definitely cakes in here, but again, I will probably choose again if it lands on a cake, because I don't think we can have cake for dinner. I'd love to have cake for dinner, but that seems ill-advised. I think this one is probably going to be the most complicated of the books, just because she's an actual chef with actual, I mean, not that Jamie Oliver's not a chef, but if you're only doing 5 ingredients, how difficult can it be? Whereas this one, she's like, you know.
I'm gonna laugh if what you get for Jamie Oliver is a really difficult dish.
I'll be really upset. I don't want any of these dishes to be difficult. The whole point of following a cookbook is it's meant to make it easier for you. But I appreciate that a lot of cookbooks are made for other people who enjoy cooking, and I can't stand cooking. So this is like someone who hates YA rating YA, and we all know how well that goes down on book Twitter. So yeah, Nadia's Kitchen. We then have the Eat Well for Less. I love this TV show, the Shop Well for Less and the Eat Well for Less, where they basically go into people's houses, take out all of their brands, put non-branded food in there so that it's actually cheaper for your purse. I don't know what else it would be cheaper for your bank account. And the food always looks really good. It looks really simple to make, and I'm always a little bit, you know, I'm inspired by this one out of all of them. Plus, you know, Greg and Chris. Look at their little faces. Look how happy they are. So yeah, this one is meant to be like the budget one. I'm quite excited. This is probably the one that I'm like, if this one messes with me in any way, I'll be disappointed. 80 simple dishes, 80 simple delicious recipes from the hit BBC One series. That's that one. And then the last one is the hairy dog. Oh my god, this one's sticky as well. Why are they sticky? They've just been on a shelf. Gonna hold it very gingerly there. The last one is the hairy dieters, which is the hairy bikers who are two gorgeous men who travel the world and try different foods and then create recipes from them. They usually go around on their motorbikes. It's fun TV to watch. These are things, I don't mind watching cooking shows so long as I've already had my dinner, but it's not TV that I go out of my way to read, if that makes sense. So the hairy dieters, the Slimming World version, I guess. But yeah, so, oh, they've got 3 hairy dieters in their series, book 1, 2 and 3. Oh, this is book 3. How did I not notice that? That just goes to show how much attention I paid when I grabbed 5 of my mum's cookbooks. She has so many more. She has them like that date back to like the 60s, like these little pocketbook ones. But to be honest, I didn't realise how sticky these ones are going to be. Those ones will be worse because they've been left in the cupboard longer, and that's really gross. Right, time to choose some meals. So, for the hairy dieters, this is how I'm going to pick it. I'm literally just going to do this. Comfort classics. Good. Tomato soup. Just tomato soup. Nothing with it, just tomato soup. Serves for prep time 15 minutes and cooking time 25 to 35 minutes. Love soup. I love soup as a main meal. That's so excited for tomato soup. Right, eat well for less. Let's see if you can do better than tomato soup. Vegetarian. Spice roasted cauliflower. That's a side dish, surely. Serves for, I might do a second scroll on that one. Okay, spice puffed rice chicken goujons with sweet potato wedges and green beans. That sounds like a lot of hard work. There's a lot of things in just the title of that one. Oh, this isn't going to involve frying stuff, is it? Like in a deep fat fryer. I hope this is oven stuff. Oh no, it is oven stuff. Woo! That's a relief. I don't trust myself with a deep fat fryer, and you shouldn't either. Nadia, right, you're a hardback, so I need to open you up a little bit first. Interesting pink. Anyway. Easy aromatic meat samosas. Yeah, we've got loads of rice, so we can have samosas and rice. That could work. Considering this is the one I thought would be most complicated. That's because it's under snacks and small plates. Makes 16. Does involve pastry. I really hope there's, I hope they're not expecting me to make my own pastry for those, because that will suck. Oh no, it's tortillas. Oh, okay, we're fine. I'm not making my own pastry. That's a relief. Pinch of nom. Let's see what you're about. Oh, there we go. This is more my street. We've got bacon and cheese potato skins. Hell yeah. 10 minutes to cook. And the just 5 ingredients. Veg. Just veg, Kieran. We're just having veg. Cajun sweet potatoes. Do you want me to find something for that to go with, or?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, because again, I think that's just a side dish. I suppose I could do that with the samosas. So a couple of those we could partner up, and then we could just have Domino's the rest of the week, yeah?
Fuck yeah.
What about garlic mushroom pasta? You like garlic mushrooms, right?
Just about as much as you like being kicked upside the head.
Now I've got oops upside my head stuck in my head. And only you to blame for that. We're gonna cook, we're gonna eat, we're gonna get back to you at the Why do the animals never want me to record? Why do they never just play along? It's my book. I wrote that. Every good cooking montage has to start with washing your hands. It's COVID-19, guys. Why are we not washing our hands? Look how thoroughly I'm washing my hands. I've had to speed it up because I cook so goddamn long. I also really don't like sticky things on my hands. So there was also that. I cooked my hands. I cleaned my hands about 8 more times after that. So now I've decided to include a couple of clips from my cooking experience. I've not included the whole thing because obviously each thing took about 20 minutes to an hour to cook. And you don't have that time. But there are a few clips that I wanted to show you that just show my cooking skills. So you know that what you're really working with when you're watching this. So we started off with some sweet potato. Now, it's pretty straightforward. It's not too hard a root vegetable to cook. And yet, look at my face. She's struggling. Why didn't she just cut it in half? What are you doing? Oh, yep, there she goes. Then she cuts it in half. She chooses the thickest bit. And how many chins did you want there, Hannah? Jesus Christ. Now, it took me a couple of minutes, but before I actually worked out that it's a lot easier to cut when something is flat, I started off by cutting a bit that looked dodged. So I was like, I'll just cut that bit off because that looks super gross. I didn't want to eat that bit. And then I was like, okay, let's go back to cooking. Wait a minute. Oh, what? Yes, Hannah, cut on a flat bit. So in future, guys, if you're ever cutting vegetables that are too big for you, cut half the side off first and then just look at me, speed on through. If I've learned anything from this experience, it's that. So anyway, then I started cooking the meat. I just left that pan just sitting there by itself for ages before I did anything. I know, rebel, what am I like? Now I'm wearing different clothes, which means it's a different day and we're cooking a different meal. And this is another one where I felt the need to just add a few clips in because I had to make the seasoning, which involved like garlic and salt and mainly flour. And it said half a teaspoon. And watch me, I put a whole fucking teaspoon in. She's not sure about it though. She thinks that might be a bit much. And then she reads the recipe. Then she works it out. Took her a minute. And then what did she do to fix it? she takes it out and puts it in the sink. I'm laughing at myself in third person, but just genuinely. Oh, bless. Right. After that, it kind of all went swimmingly. I didn't like having egg on my finger. I really don't like sticky things. But we're here now. We've done it. Yeah. So, don't ever come to my house to eat because you'll either get food poisoning or it will just be too stressful for me. I did try and get it so that I could actually show you me dipping all the stuff into the egg, but oh, that was the thing. So I then had to take this cereal and make it smaller so that it would actually stick to the egg and the chicken and stuff, which was fine. Other than it said to break it by hand, and that was taking me so goddamn long that I just was like, that's not why I want to be spending my time. So I thought, oh, I'll be clever. I'll use a potato masher. And the little granules kept going through the holes. So I don't think I actually mashed any of it. So then when I dunk my chicken into the egg and then dunk it into the Rice Krispies, they're basically whole. Oh, Hannah. It tasted alright though, so. And I hate, like I said, I hate having sticky things in my hands. So as you saw, I just threw a whole bunch of sticky stuff straight. That was just stuff that was stuck to my fingers. In the book, it said to make sure you do all the egg first so that your fingers don't get really, really sticky. I ignored that and just went, nah. Just wash my hands again. Okay, the week is up and I am ready to review some cookbooks. So I'm going to start with my least favourite, a pinch of nom. So these are meant to be slimming recipes and I obviously picked out the bacon and cheese potato skins. Now, for most part, I think it does actually have full dishes, but none of them are full meals. It shouldn't have been an issue that it was a dish rather than a full meal. I really enjoy potato skins, but the instructions were so vague. So it starts off by saying that it's 10 minutes prep time and 40 minutes cooking time, but actually that's not accurate because it gives you two options for the potato skins. You can either microwave them or you can oven cook them. That's the instruction. It doesn't tell you how long to cook them for. So for someone like me who doesn't cook very often, do I then have to go and find another recipe? Do I need to go on the internet? That's not the point of a cookbook. It's meant to be there for you. So I found that really frustrating. In the end, what my brother and I had was the bacon and cheese in pasta and then half-baked potatoes. It's real scrummy, so. Pinch of nom was not great, just because if your instructions are vague, like how are you supposed to follow them? For someone like me who is a novice cook, this is just not ideal. It looks pretty, it was rubbish. Pinch of nom got 1 star. The next lowest one, it's not necessarily this cookbook's fault that it was the lowest one. It was the pizza, make your own pizza recipe that I followed for this one. So at least it was a full meal as opposed to just potato skins that I had to then, you know, ad-lib with other stuff. The thing that got me with this is you had to do each thing individually. I am not adept enough to do all those things all at once, and I burnt my finger on the tomato sauce. It was really hot. It was really nice though, but I didn't have any yeast, so I couldn't actually make what I wanted to make. So this actually worked out being one of the most expensive recipes because I couldn't find half the ingredients I needed. So I was going to use already made pizza bases, except the only ones I could find are those with the gluten-free ones, and they were so pale and weird looking that I just didn't trust them. It sounds really stupid, but I didn't really want gluten-free pizza bases anyway. I was annoyed that I couldn't like do the full recipe. Half the stuff they had as potential toppings I then couldn't find. I could find the mozzarella and that was it. Like, so I had tomato mozzarella, and then I had to kind of find my own like pizza toppings, so I ended up buying pepperoni and stuff like that. So it wasn't really a diet book by that point because I was putting other things on it, and instead of using a pizza base I had to use a flatbread, which was really scrummy, but it was expensive, and it just meant that this again wasn't what was promised. I was expecting something nice and simple and easy, and it was just really complicated, really convoluted, and more expensive than it needed to be. Also, when it came to the sauce, I took for granted how many spices and things I had in my cupboard, and I didn't have half the herbs because they wanted you to have fresh herbs, and Sainsbury's just didn't have the fresh herbs that I needed, and I didn't have dried herbs here, which I thought that I did. So I kind of compensated with garlic. It's a really good thing that I'm single because I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, I did give it 3 stars. Good boy. You just like being in shot, don't you, baby? There we go. Nadias Kitchen was the first recipe book that I used, and it was probably the one that made me feel most like a chef because there were so many different elements to the cooking in the recipe that I was doing, considering it was just the meat samosas. I did not use lamb, which is recommended, because lamb was £5 for the same thing as mince, like same weightage of mince, which was £1.75 for beef. That's a crazy difference. But it meant that all the cooking timings were completely off, and I completely overdid the mince because it told me to keep cooking it and stirring it in and adding all these spices. And apparently my parents really enjoyed making curry because I had loads of different spices for curries, but I just didn't have the herbs for the other one. But anyway, so it was lovely. I definitely made the white version. It was not as spicy as she recommended. I kind of used half the spices on everything, but it tasted great. But the mince by that point was so dry, it was chewy because it was just such an extensive cooking process, and I followed the recipe and I followed the timing specifically, not taking into consideration that it was beef, because why would I? It then suggested that you kind of make the samosa out of tortilla wraps. Now, it said you can make 16, and I thought if they only use like 8 tortillas, they're not going to be massive samosas. So I'll make the 16 and then I'll have them as like leftovers for my brother to take to work. The problem with that then became that there was more tortilla wraps left over than there was mince. So we just had loads of half tortilla wraps because I did all the prep at the same time so that I would have everything. And yeah, so we've just been eating half tortilla wraps with stuff in them for lunch because I've just got loads of tortilla wraps left. That was disappointing, but this was quite a good one. The instructions are nice and clear and simple, but it was really expensive food and not worth it because it was just the samosas. I then had to buy the rice to go with it, so of all the meals this was the most expensive because of that, but not a bad recipe book. I would give it 3.5 stars. Don't know why I thumbs up, that was so dumb. But anyway, next we come to Jamie Oliver's 5 ingredients. Now, because I ended up with a veggie option, it was essentially just sweet potatoes that I was making. And I had the Cajun spice and I had everything else, but it was essentially just sweet potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes. So I had that with the samosas and rice. It was really nice and really straightforward. Again, the recipe and the ingredients list are as simple as physically possible. It's basically bullet pointed. You can see why Jamie Oliver has sold so many cookbooks, because idiots like me who don't know what they're doing can go, oh, add water, and it's just, you know, it's just so simple. A monkey could do it, and I'm the monkey. So I really appreciated that. We've had sweet potatoes nearly every day since, because it told me to buy 5 sweet potatoes, and I think I ended up buying 5 extra large sweet potatoes because we still have 4 sweet potatoes left. There's only 2 of us. It's a lot of sweet potato, but they make really nice chips. So, and now I know how to roast them with different spices and things. So this is the one that I felt like I learnt something. Yes, I learnt how to make tomato sauce, but I'll probably never make it again because I got a boo-boo. But this one didn't even hurt me. It was just cut up the thing, sprinkle the thing, bang in the oven. This is a recipe book for lazy assholes like me. I really enjoyed this one. This one got a 4 stars. I enjoyed it. In hindsight, I think the reason I liked this one so much is because it didn't really feel like cooking, which I think is an endorsement for a cookbook. The recipe that came closest to getting a 5 stars, although technically it still got a 4 stars, is the Eat Well for Less. Not only was the meal the cheapest, it was a whole meal. It took every element of cooking into consideration. It told you what order to cook things in so that you wouldn't have to worry about timings, so that your vegetables would be done at the same time the chicken was done. The puff thing was weird. It was essentially like having non-sugared sugar puffs on your chicken. I wouldn't do that again, but it didn't taste bad, and now I know how to dip things in egg before you want to smother them in things. But I feel like they held up their end of the bargain. It was simple and it was delicious. And it was probably, out of all of them, the one that was a whole hearty meal. Now I appreciate it was just random happenstance that for some of the others I ended up picking out random snacks as opposed to a full dish, but I feel like every page of this is a full dish. Even the puddings, it's kind of like, actually this is a whole thing that you can eat and it's healthy and it's cheap. So the meal was actually the cheapest out of all of them, and considering the other ones were snacks, that shouldn't have been the case. There was also enough in this recipe for leftovers. So it was the closest thing to a winner. You'll also be glad to know that we didn't order Domino's. We were good. We actually ate 5 dishes over 5 days. I also bought some fresh pasta and had the leftover tomato sauce and with the bacon and cheese, as I said. So we actually had the 5 dishes over the 5 days. Wasn't too bad. Was expensive. I spent more this week on food than I've ever spent before, but at least now I know I can cook without poisoning people, so long as I can follow instructions and don't burn myself. Tell you what I really like doing? I really like eating. I can't wait for when lockdown's over and I can do Hannah Reviews 5 restaurants in 5 days. It's gonna be a good video, mates up. I'm excited. Exactly. That's enough from me. I hope you have a nice day. Make sure you're liked and subscribed, and I'll see you next time.